Hi everybody, we made it from Soldotna all the way down to Homer. We've actually been here for a full week, if you can believe it, and we want to tell you all about it. We've had a fabulous time. A week is not even nearly enough. But the weather is unfortunately not cooperating, so we will see you inside. Ooh, that's better. It's better. Fun out there. Well, hey, there's so much to do at the Homer Spit, but the Homer Spit, it's not everything Homer. Most people come to the Spit because literally it's where everything's at to do a lot of stuff. If you want to be a part of the action, the Spit is where you want to be, but it can be quite busy too. But what is this Spit, the Homer Spit? Well, it's actually a terminal moraine that was left over from a glacier that carved out this area about 15,000 years ago. The entire Spit is about 4.5 miles long, so it'll take you, depending on how fast you're driving, of course, 10 to 15 minutes to drive the Spit. It's full of shops and halibut charters and beaches. The list goes on.
So right smack dab in the middle of the Spit, or at least in the middle of where all the marina and the camping, a lot of the camping is something called the Fishing Lagoon, and it's artificially made and restocked every year with salmon. And we did see somebody catch a fish there, so we do know that you can catch something.
What is Homer best known for? Well, I would say Homer is best known for the halibut.
Not just for the halibut, but for the halibut.
I can't get her to quit doing that. Anyway, Homer is known as the halibut capital of the world, and you don't have to walk very far or see very far or look very far to see all of the halibut charters that are in operation. And if you were walking around in the afternoon when those halibut charters come back, you will see loads and loads of halibut getting ready to get all cut up and processed for everybody to take back home with them. Unfortunately, one of the things I really wanted to do on this trip was to go halibut fishing. We had a charter set up, and then it got canceled because of a mechanical problem with the boat, which was unfortunate. And they called so late in the day on top of it, I didn't even have, it was too late to call another charter company. So that was a bummer, but definitely call ahead and get the Tour Saver coupon if you want to do like a 2-for-1 on a halibut charter.
So some people believe that going to Homer Spit is not complete unless you stop at the Salty Dog Bar. And what is it, and why is it so well known?
Well, it started off, it was built in 1897, so quite old, right when Homer first became a town. And it started off, though, the building itself was used for a lot of different things. It was used as a post office, it was used as a store, it was used as a schoolhouse at one point. So the things it was used for, and even a train station, were kind of a long list there. And then in 1957 it was finally opened as the Salty Dog Saloon, 2 years before Alaska even became a state, which is pretty cool. So, there's, in the past, the salty fishermen used to come in at the end of the day and have their drinks, and now it's kind of a melting pot of tourists and fisher people as they come in. At the end of the day, when we were there, it was a pretty cool mix of tourists from all over the world, and then fisher people coming back for the day. And it's a sight to behold. So definitely fun to come in and check it out.
People put dollar bills all over inside. And here's a bonus. If you're really lucky, you'll meet somebody that's only traveling around Alaska to collect sand. It's just that when you get focused like that and you don't care if you're going to just be driving from point A to point B to point C all in one day and not really having time to see it, like imagine going to, true story, planning to go to Seward and then to Anchorage from Homer starting at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening.
And you had to be Anchorage by 11 that night.
And you just want to drive to Seward to get some sand. Now, if you've watched our Seward video, or videos, plural, there is tons to do there. And it is one of our favorite, if not the favorite place in Alaska. So it's really shocking, and not just to us, but the other people at the table, that you would try to do Seward like that. It's off. We're a little off topic. But the reason I'm bringing this up is if you look at the map of Alaska and you're planning a trip up here, Pick your favorite things. Try not to do too much all in once because you'll miss a lot, because a lot of it is just actually being there, experiencing it, and seeing things that you wouldn't see if you were in a big hurry.
One of the things you may discover if you do a scenic drive outside of Homer is a Russian Old Believer community. So east of Homer, 20 some miles, there's a couple of communities out there, and then there's one north of Homer, basically, or west of Homer, towards Anchor Point. There's another community there. So there's a few Russian Old Believer communities, and they originally moved to Alaska so that they could practice their worship the way that they wanted to instead of being persecuted back home. So it's pretty interesting. You might just drive around and you'll see these Russian names or a Russian cemetery. They're very quiet, secluded communities and really don't want, outsiders, especially this one community. You actually have to park at the top and, you'd have to walk down and they kind of, really don't want people from the outside, and we didn't go down there ourselves.
So one of our favorite stops is a little bit off the beaten path and was recommended by a friend, and we were so glad we followed up on it, is the Norman Lowell Art Gallery.
Yeah, thanks to our friend Claudia. She highly recommended it. She says, if you like art, this is a world-class art gallery, and she was so right, and we're so glad we took the drive out there. So Norman Lowell moved to Alaska in 1958, the year Sweetie here was born.
Hey!
What? What do you mean, hey?
Somebody's trying to date me now. And not in a good way.
Okay, I'm going to start the whole thing over again. Anyway, so he started painting when he moved to Alaska in 58 all the way up until 2017, where he had to stop because he'd been legally blind for a few years by that point. But him and his wife got 160 acres in the Homestead Act, and they built a small gallery, and then later on they built this massive gallery, and the showcase of that was a 7-foot by 14-foot Northern Lights painting that is absolutely stunning. So if you have a chance to go to the Norman Lowell Gallery, highly recommend that if you really like awesome painting, and he uses several different mediums that he's just mastered. We'll tell you what the dogs love the most about Homer, and that's the beaches. It's a spit. There's beaches all around, and even Bishop's Beach is at the very beginning of the spit, low tide, and man, it's absolutely fantastic to walk around on. So yeah, hit those beaches at low tide or high tide or whenever you want to. The dogs had a blast running around, and we've often said if Blitz is on his last legs that we're taking him to the beach for one last hurrah, because I think that is probably his favorite place in the entire world. Well, on a rainy day, I would say one of our biggest surprise visits was the Islands and Oceans Visitor Center. And that is a really cool visitor center that gives you a window into the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge, which is a 3.4 million refuge. That covers a bunch of islands in the Aleutian Chain, covers a bunch of territory in the Pribilofs, and some other spots in the Chukchi Sea. So this is basically areas that protect 40 million seabirds. And when you visit the center, I mean, it's really cool. They got all these interactive exhibits and just a really great window, kind of just describing, how a lot of the habitat was destroyed and how conservationists have, really tried to protect these areas and how some of these areas have come back. So from the almost total extinction of the sea otter to their return and on and on. So yeah, and even if it's not a rainy day, I would definitely visit the Islands and Ocean Visitor Center. We both found it a really, really great visit. So it's fun just walking around Homer to see all the different art stuff that's going on. There's really great coffee shops too. We love the Captain's Coffee. When I was a little girl, I had little ponies, and now we're in a coffee shop, and they gave me this little pony to mark our order. So they'll know what to bring us because I have a little pony again. we didn't really have time to try very many other coffee places. That's just one that we tried.
There's one on the Spit that's also really good.
Yeah, it's a stand, log cabin.
Yeah.
That was also really good. And of course, a couple breweries to try in town. Homer Brewing Company was excellent, as well as Grace Ridge, I think was the name of it. Yeah, both fun to try at the end of a long, busy day of touring.
We've had a great time here in Homer. I'm glad you joined us. But we haven't talked about the 2 excursions off of the Spit that we did. And from here, we're hopefully heading to Hope. See you there.
See you in our next adventure.
Enough of mine.
And Rhonda, go!
I don't talk much.
Yeah, but when you get
I don't talk much just because I go like this and just yammer on.
Oh, okay.
You watch.
Excuse me as I belch on camera. Yahoo!